Yahtzee.
Yeah, Yahtzee, welcome back. To session 98. Hey. How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, not bad.
Let's hope my voice is less laggy today. We'll see.
I mean, we did literally the first, I think like the third word you said did cut out, but you seem okay now.
Yeah.
No in. Yeah.
You seem better
Right.
now.
Not fix
Well, my Discord is going crazy. So.
Oh, well, that's good. This is a good start.
It happened because we said it, Richard.
It's just so annoying. I start speaking. Fucking... Can you move it to different server?
Yeah, I'll give that a go.
Because I can hear you guys fine. It's just when I talk it lags.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is it maybe a microphone or something, or
No,
I don't understand computers.
Yeah, it's not. Discord is telling me I'm lagging.
Oh wait, where actually is the setting now? I think they've moved it.
Okay, well, I'll start us off. If you can understand me, then.
Can mostly understand you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, maybe I'd say that. Maybe not.
So
shall we go back to the? Shall we mute the stream while we sort this out?
no, I'll just join on my phone.
All right.
Alright.
God, where is the thing?
While waiting for Mike, I bottled my mead today. Woohoo! It's
Your
passion fruit and
mead?
apple flavor. Yeah.
Oh my
Nice.
god, that sounds so good. Mead is my most favorite drink of everything.
You should learn to
So-
make it. It's really easy. Yeah, it's nice. It's definitely not the nicest mead that I've made.
Oh. Yeah, I really need to get into making my own mead.
You should. I'll teach you after.
That
not
sounds
during.
good.
Yeah, either
Alright,
I'm being
Jimmy?
silly, or I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
yep.
Yep.
Either I'm being silly, or I think they may have removed the option to change the server region.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm now here. Hopefully, you can understand me a bit better.
Yes,
Yes.
believe so. At the risk of jinxing
Yeah, I'm on 4G, so.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm on the other side of the house in the box, and then all my housemates are using Wi-Fi. So. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. In that case, let's begin. So, last we left off, the Clive Five went to Barathon on the suggestion of the recently awakened High Librarian Gira, who claimed to be able to investigate the reason why the strangers did not return when they said they would. Upon looking at the magical trails in the city, you soon realized that the Magisterium in Barathon was to blame, somehow having captured the Oak Bull while traveling around and storing it somewhere within its stone walls. Immediately, a plan was hatched where Chinook and Gira met with the Grand Magister of Barathon, Castian Gilpros, convincing him to hand over the captured Oak Bull. However, Morna had snuck in while the Grand Magister was distracted, stealing the artifact. So, needless to say, when the Magister realized that his leg had been pulled a bit, got rather angry and demanded that you left. However, your task was ultimately successful, and you returned to Erstwalt, where eventually, after some discussion, you smashed the snow globe, releasing the Oak Bull from its binding to Barathon, and releasing the ancient gold dragon Massamantha. So, as the tower faded into magical dust, Massamantha stood there in confusion. He says, What happened? Scrimshaw? Mona? Where is everyone else? Gideon? Darius? Saka?
I stop hugging Shaggy.
Shahi just stands there awkwardly, just like being hugged.
Yes, it's
Some
been a
of
while.
them didn't make it. But yeah, it has been a while. Why didn't you come in and we'll catch you up on everything that's happened?
She looks around and she says, I haven't been outside in so long. She looks at the trees and says, I'm not sure if I can go inside again.
Why don't we go for a walk? And we'll catch you up on what's happened.
Sure, I can do that. And she stands up, and you see before you, obviously, the old woman with silver white hair and multiple bands and bracelets that are sort of like golden jewelry that's around her. She's wearing sort of a very old style of dress, similar to how you last saw her, and her hair is sort of put up into big braids. You notice that also there is Johan, and on the ground is Professor Metherick, who is just sort of like wheezing a little bit, but he like sits up a bit. His mind flayer face is sort of jiggling as he looks around and says, "I feel a lot better."
Shadow prepares a casting of fireball upon seeing him.
He's okay.
But
He's
but
not.
Squid Face.
He's not one of them.
Rocks on no kill?
Hey! What are you saying about my face?
What are you doing with your voice, Mike? Jesus, that's cool.
Oh, in my head, this is like
Has a
You know-
big glass of
you know-
water next to him just for this occasion.
you know in like a video game where like random appendages will just like kind of glitch out and just like flail around randomly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, he sits up and says, "I have never felt so good in my life."
Wait,
I don't know how to respond to this, considering how we nearly died earlier. Considering, you know, big brain monster of doom.
oh, Yeah, I
Johan
guess-
sort of kneels down by Professor Metherick and takes out a spell book and starts sort of like doing some magic on him. Gonna discern what's caused him to get a bit better.
well,
If
I mean, we did kill the Elder Brain.
okay, but why isn't he dead?
Well, he was never under the Elder Brain's control. He was subjected to the process that transformed him into this, but he's remained himself.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
It nearly happened to Morna as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm so sorry this has happened to you, Metherick.
Okay.
I didn't mean to threaten you with a fireball or anything. I just thought you were one of them. I'm sorry.
I mean, if you're feeling better, and you know that's fantastic. I know before it was, well, death was fairly imminent, as I understand.
Unless you're turning into an elder brain yourself, then we'll have to.
Well, I mean, there's no need to jump to conclusions, or even that if he did to become an Elder Brain, that he wouldn't be a friendly one. But you know, there's all kinds of magic in this world. I'm sure there are ways for you to return to your old body.
Johan looks up and says, "Well, it's good to see you all again. Well, those who I know." And looks at Gira and Chinook and Melindra and Roxanne and says, "And we haven't been introduced." Johan is sort of wearing a... He sort of looks a bit like a musketeer or something. Like he's got those sort of flowing shirt, like cloth shirt, and he doesn't have a hat on at the moment, but he's got his hair pulled back into like a big ponytail. He's wearing like a sort of red and goldish jacket that is quite well made. He's stowing away his spell book, saying, "Well, seems that you have rescued us. Although I do not know how long we I've been gone for? Is it a
What-
year to the day?
What's the last thing that you remember? Was it the banishing of yourselves?
Yes, this was the last thing that we did.
Oh, how long has it been? Year and a half, 2 years?
Oh,
I'm not
sure a lot
certain,
has happened.
really.
Where's the elder box?
Oh, so a funny thing about that. So we lost it, and then it came into the hands of Naruzatar, who destroyed it, I believe, and
You lost the Elder Box.
yes, and everyone in Carnia was turned to stone.
How did you
Naruzatar's now
lose
gone.
the Elder Box?
We
Somebody
entrusted
took
it.
it from us.
We entrusted it to a very.
No, Scrimshaw entrusted it. It was his idea.
We entrusted it to a seemingly trustful merchant who had a vault that we could keep it in that seemed safer than our own hands. We were wrong, and he turned out to be We were wrong, and he turned out to be some kind of fiend, who used it to try and, bring back Eretzar and a whole load of stuff. We sorted it out.
What did you do with the Elder Box?
We put it in a vault.
What vault?
Well, it's not in that vault anymore.
Then where is it?
It got stolen.
It got destroyed.
Listen to the story.
You know, if you didn't shout over Scrimshaw, you would have heard that bit.
Yeah. But yes, this is
It did
Chinook. He's from the Feywild. He'll probably mention it a few times before the day is done.
Shonik is currently bridging the bridge of his nose.
Yeah, I believe he actually knows Shai already.
Yes, hello. How you doing?
Shai nods.
And I am Rotson, the strong and handsome one of this group.
The strong one.
Yes,
You
this is
Johan
The
says.
strong one.
Johan says. Yes, I do recognize you. You were in the service of King Wolfram, right?
I was in the service of King Wolfram. God, that was a while ago now. But now I am in the Clive 5.
I was a magister for Wolfram during the war.
Oh, were you? Oh, maybe we crossed paths at some point.
I certainly have. Certainly have seen you, but I was one of many magisters.
Did you see me cleaving people in twain?
Unfortunately, I was not in any of the battles.
Ah. Well, shame.
Unfortunately, would you have rather have been in some of those?
Well, I think I could have made a difference. It's part of the reason why I left Wolfram's service. Magisters aren't respected nearly as much as they should be.
Hang on, I think Matt's saying something.
Sorry, my note started auto-speaking to me.
Oh, right, okay.
I couldn't turn off for some reason. It was a timeline of Gura.
And this is Gira.
You might know him.
You might. Do you know it? Do you recognise him at all?
Do you ask?
Massa. I don't suppose you recognise him from your days in the Kara Concord.
Oh, sorry.
Massamantha says, you are wielding the hammer of the High Librarian.
That is correct. I was a young boy. I heard many stories about you, Massamantha. And
So the dragons didn't forget.
we never forgot. Your legacy, it stood as a warning, I suppose, to subsequent dragons and dragonborn. We never quite shifted our ideology that you so vehemently detested.
It wasn't just me. There was a few of us. We couldn't stay back and let Eretzar take over Orthe.
Which is precisely why we freed you. Apart from the fact that my friends here were so diligently keen that we rescued you because you friends of some description.
And you seem like a good person from what I've been told.
Well, we all have a past.
That's true.
Oh, and this is Melindra. Did you?
Belidra bows and says, "Yes, I as well was raised on the stories of your greatness, and well, I don't know what to think."
Indeed, it is quite strange. It's like
If you
meeting a
both-
mythological hero.
If you
She's like Titus being in front of us right now.
if you both feel this way, and I believe Massa broke your code to a degree, then surely there is an element to the celebration of breaking your code?
Well, it's Massa says, well, the code wasn't really enforced until Eretzar's invasion, and then it sort of
Right.
split the dragons in well, some dragons, like myself, wanted to help the mortals against the obviously dangerous forces of Zornakar and Eretzar, but just glad that some dragons have not, well, that I wasn't demonized for it, I suppose.
Well, unfortunately, events. I'm not sure what you know about it, but I'd need that spirit of yours once more. Even if I don't particularly agree with it.
Yes, well, I assume if the High Librarian has come to free me, there's something clearly has gone wrong.
Indeed. It's a tragic affair. May I suggest we walk and share, I can share my understanding of what's happened? Maybe
Yes.
just Melindra, myself, and you, and allow the Clive Five to reminisce and remember and talk to your companions.
Yes, I think that might be in order. Massa sort of looks around at the trees and looks up and says, "You know, you forget things about how nature sounds and looks. This is a scary thing, being plunged back into such an open and wide world after so long. This will take some getting used to, I suppose."
Whatever we can do and be of service, I'm sure we will accommodate you.
Johan sort of like pulls Professor Methrick up, who stands up and dusts himself off as Shai sort of like is inspecting the smashed remains of the snow globe. And Shai looks at you, Chinook, and sort of squints, as in like a, what the fuck? What the hell are you doing here?
I give her a bit of a nod and a smirk.
She walks up to you and just like starts dragging you off from the rest of the group.
I kind of just give like this weird motion, like, you know, don't follow, don't follow, don't follow, as we're just kind of, as I'm kind of being dragged away against my will.
Yeah, she sort of like grabs your arm and she's very strong for her height. Just like begins walking off and just dragging you behind her. Johan turns to the rest of the group and says, "Shall we make our way back to, well, wherever you're staying?"
Sure. Actually, that's that's our house, just over there.
Well,
Yeah.
I would quite like to sit by a fire. It is it's quite cold here.
We do have a hearth.
Fantastic. Well, it's just sorted. Professor? And it turns to Professor Metherick, and he nods and says, "Yes, let's go." So Massamantha, Melinda, and Gira sort of begin going on a walk, whilst Shai and Chinook are also going off, and then the rest of you are going. So let's start with Gira, shall we? So Melindra begins to sort of just bring you down a path that's just one of the sort of country roads. And Asa looks around and says, "This place is. It's funny how things don't change that much over such a long period."
Indeed, there is a innocent beauty of these lands, quite like the basalt isles, younger, more virulent.
Yes. Well, you have to tell me what happened.
I'm afraid it is not a good story. And it looks to Melinda and Beck. It was a grave accident, the likes of which our beloved home had never seen before. It destroyed everything. The library, the people, our spirit. Now that all that stands in the basalt tiles is a giant swirling tempest, a scar, a mark of my failure to prevent outsiders, mortals, from interfering in our business. A quaint irony, you might agree.
I had heard rumors, but I never believed it.
Fortunately, it's all true, and we don't have all the time in the world. Every moment we wait around, the air elemental, or the creature that inhabits the lodestone, or inhabited the lodestone, could break free and tear apart all of Orthaid with its collected arcane and elemental magic.
And what do you propose?
Well, the Isles are guarded by Naxus and his servants. They've claimed what's left of the Kara Concord, ruling through fear and a bit of a cult. Join us, and we can put an end to Naxus once and for all. I'm sure you of all people don't like to see everything we stood for is gone. Although we might never be able to bring back the Kara Concord, and I hope you feel the same way, owe our people a debt of gratitude to fix the mistakes of the past.
She stops and looks at you and says, "And why should I help the dragons who abandoned me all those years ago?"
Gira turns to Menindra and kind of, I don't know if she still looks slightly battle-scarred from her recent events, but he kind of turns back. You have no reason to trust what we are now, or what we were, rather, before it all went to rubbish. But are we not all joined by something? Our mission? Do good in the world, to protect it? It is, after all, how the legends, the detractors, and the people that we saw it as nuisance to society because they believed in what you did. They still believed that what you were doing was inherently good. You were saving the world. It doesn't matter if you were ascribing to our ideology or not. So, But once more, we would like you to do good. Enjoy in what is left of our people, and try and put this to bed.
And this Nexus, you tell me something about him?
Indeed. He was, and has been, or was for quite a while, the leader of sort of an interventionalist faction of the Kara Concord. If, sorry, hello? I think
Yeah,
I
hello.
then, sorry. He was, interventionist among the Kara Concord. He led a faction. They craved something more than what balance offered. And, one day he bided his time. Although I have no evidence to suggest he was involved with the accident that caused the mortal Aaron Shander to arrive in the Great Library and cause havoc, I have a feeling he was involved somehow. I've heard whispers that he's a servant of an Asher Girl, fiend, demon you might be aware of. But he is Scion, and he needs to be put down along with the rest of his brood.
Yes, I know Asher Girl. I was one of the people who was tasked with defeating him in the first place.
Well, you'll be glad to know it worked for a long time. But about 3 months prior to the destruction of the library, he was, at least it's the rumors and the intelligence is to be believed, it was pretty good. He was freed.
I can attest to that, Melinda says. I was there.
I ask you also, Melindra here has been here since it all happened. She is what the Dragonborn and the Dragon and the Kara Concord are now. She is our hope, our future. She has battled with the scars of the loss of our pride, our prideful, as you might call it. She is different. She stands for something else. Not for what we used to believe in, that we were so ideologically driven to ascribe to, but something new, something more pragmatic, something I think you might just like a bit more.
Well, this is a lot of information to take in.
Indeed.
I might have to think about it.
We need you, Massamantha. Our people need you. We're all that's left. Well, there's not much of us.
And what happens when Naxos is defeated?
Kiraten, well, I haven't really talked about this yet, but I must go into the Tempest and end it. It is my duty as the Grand Librarian, High Librarian, to do so. But I cannot get close enough while Naxos and his brood are swarming around, and even if we do end the Tempest, if the brood is still around, then it doesn't really change much. Naxos just gains a stronger foothold in the basalt tiles, and maybe the information that lay within the Tempest. Books, knowledge, the bread and butter of our civilization, or the lardon. So, yeah.
I see. Well, I think that we will all have to make sacrifices in the future then.
Indeed. And please do not tell the others that I intend to go into the Tempest. I fear they might try and do something rash. Want to help or something. But,
Very well.
you'll know what would happen if they went anywhere near that amount of arcane energy.
And
Or
how do you
warfare.
How do you propose we get to the basal tiles?
Oh, come now. Did you not have this hammer in my time?
Did.
In your time, sorry. Well, wait, did they have the stone shifts then?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. Oh, you must be familiar with the stone shifts.
I was under the impression that they had been lost.
Lost? Oh, we used them all the time when I was the High Librarian. Would Gira know? Actually, would Gira know why that they were lost? I'm sure he would, right?
Um. Yeah. I mean, there's been periods where they've been used and when they haven't been used, and
Okay.
I think she says I well, but the stone shifts were a thing when I was in the basal tiles, but the librarian never allowed us to use them. We flew to Orthaid on our own without using them.
Curious. Does Gira know which High Librarian that might be?
Make a history check. It's quite far back. You don't quite know the exact dates.
Okay. Well, there have been many High Librarians, and as I'm sure you're aware, I am endowed with all their kind of collective knowledge and thoughts, and more of an intuition than anything concrete, but there are plenty of High Librarians that swung one way and that swung the other on the use of the stone shifts. I was of the opinion that they would be a great boon to our people. In a world where technology, various races of humanity were eclipsing new frontiers, it made sense that we had to keep up an impression of superiority and an ability to protect. So, sure, I can find the stone shifts quite easily with this hammer. In fact, if we use it, it should just take us right there.
Very well. If you need my support, then I will give it. But I do not know what you want from me afterwards.
That is your decision alone, Samantha. You have been imprisoned for a long time. You should see what's become of the world.
I think so.
And
Oh yeah, go ahead.
if there is a place for you in any society, just for the dragons and the dragonborn, then they would be honored to have you.
Okay, so we'll go to Chinook and Shai. So Shai's currently just like taking you down a bit of a back path, right into the woods, and she's just going around picking berries, silently, obviously, sort of skipping as she goes. Eventually, occasionally, she'll turn around and guide you, further into the woods. You sort of get. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Shannock, probably from communicating with Shai previously, is going to produce a small notebook with empty pages and a quill, and he's going to kind of just push it in Shai's direction as a kind of way to suggest, I can't hear you, but if you want to talk, I'm here, kind of way.
She takes the notebook and quill. She looks at you and just writes a question mark on the page and gives it to you.
Hakul sent me here. I write, and then I send it her way.
She writes, "You can speak to me. I can hear you." She
How
sort of
cool.
waves her hand, and the quill disappears, and the writing that appears on the paper, she just sort of like waves her hand over, and it just magically appears.
Hakul sent me here for a reason. Shay, do you know what that reason is?
She shakes her head.
The people I'm with, they're good people. But they came across something very powerful. He wants it, Shay.
She she writes on the she waves her hand on the paper, and it says it's like, so what?
You know what he would do with it, don't you?
She stops and thinks and says, writes on the paper, I haven't really thought about it.
You know what he's done to you. What he's done to me. What he's done to everybody. If he's loose, if he's free, what he can do to everyone. Everyone that falls under his power, his will. There will be no more freedom, no more speech. He's this being that exemplifies it, and yet everything would be lost. Every ounce of freedom, joy, sorrow, everything in between that's brought through poetry would die. I need to know you understand.
She looks down and writes, I understand.
Thank you.
She says, I've thought of it. Before. But I trust him.
I know you do, but you can't trust anyone with that ability. As soon as they gain it, they'll use it to justify about anything. I know you trust him. I know you serve him. But I can't. I've loved someone, and to know that I've loved someone and the risk that they're in, I can't risk him knowing about. I need to get rid of him, Shay.
She stops and turns and looks at you, just quite intensely. Her young body sort of like hosts a much deeper and older wisdom in her eyes as she like stares at you. She says, she writes on the pad, I'm not sure what I can do.
You can stand with me. I have a plan, and it requires the others to help me fulfill it. I'll talk to them about it later on. But I'll need your aid.
She writes, I made an oath, and so did you.
I did. I did. But I swore an oath to language, to music, to speech. I made no oath to him. And neither did you. He will destroy those things. He will destroy everything he stands for in his pursuit of power, Shai. He will no longer be the man he is. He will no longer be the man you swore your oath to. He will be a monster.
She stops and sort of looks like she's carefully pondering something, as if she may have been convinced, but she doesn't write anything.
I understand. This can be difficult. It was difficult for me. Just know that I trust you to do what is right. And I kind of pick up the notebook and I walk away.
Yeah, she stays behind in the woods, just sort of just watching you leave. All right, we'll go to Erstwhal. So as you get in, Johan immediately throws himself by the fire. Oh, you know, it does get chilly in these parts.
Yeah, it does. Do you
I've
want
always liked
some
that.
food?
What do you have?
We've basically just got rations, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I
I've
think
got
there are.
rations, but I could go into town and buy you some food if you like. There's a nice bakery there.
We should definitely go and buy some food.
I mean, there's probably things in the cupboards, right? I
Assume
don't.
so. How long have we
I don't know
been
if any of us. I don't know if any of you actually know how to cook, but
There's
That's,
rations and stuff.
I would very much question the edibility of the food that's been in the cupboards while we've not been here.
I offer him some like jerky ration from what I've got from my pack. Like
Yeah.
my
He takes it in the stock, takes a bite off it. But Professor Methrick, however, doesn't look so appetized by it.
What do you eat, Professor Methrick, apart from like
Worms.
Brains?
Things.
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, could buy him a carrot or something.
wait, is that the secret of vegetarians immune to mind flayers?
I never thought of it about it that
Are
way.
there any like apple trees or trees that grow fruit on our land that I could just go and pick some and come back and
Yeah,
give them the fruit?
yeah, you have a small orchard.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the orchard and pick some fruit and bring it back for our guests.
Yeah, Professor Methrick is sort of like stretching out his achy body and said, "Oh, I thought I was dead."
What was that? You thought you were dead?
We were a little concerned that, well, when you came back, it wouldn't be you. It would just be, well, what used to be you.
Think more than that.
Glad to find out. I honestly
Oh,
hadn't
sorry.
really made the connection that killing the Elder Brain might have stopped your transformation. Do you actually feel okay? You said you weren't eating. Oh no! Oh, sorry, no. You just don't want the meat. All right. Yeah. Are you feeling okay?
Physically, never better.
It's autumn now, right?
Yeah.
So we
kind
got
of, well, mid-autumn.
got apples and blackberries and plums coming off of this orchard.
Okay. Well, yeah. Once you bring them back, he sort of looks at them and just immediately starts slapping them down, just like his tentacles wriggling about as he's eating it.
So, what's happened since we last saw you? Have you been stuck has it been like years since it has been on the outside, or has it felt just like seconds?
Johan says, felt just like a flash of time.
So,
One
like,
minute we were talking with you, saying goodbye as you prepared to leave Baratheon, and we were going to hide ourselves, and then this happened, and we were here now.
I'm surprised that the Arcanum didn't try and gain entry to speak to you. Oh, we should probably tell you about that. Yeah, you were in a we went back to find you in Baratheon, and you were in a crystal ball in the or snow globe type thing in the Arcanum, and then I stole it, and now you're here.
Oh. Are the Magisters going to be okay with that?
Well, they don't really have a choice, do
Yeah,
they?
what actually happened in there? I don't think we've had time to discuss it.
Well, Shinnik and Gira were waiting, and then I just went straight in. This is dark, and I'm quite sneaky. So I had a look around the library. I thought they might be in the O section, but they weren't. I don't know how they organized their artifacts, and then I found out they had a special secret artifacts section, which was actually very easy to find considering it was called secret artifacts. And I just knocked on the door, stepped through the door when they didn't see me, stepped through the bars, picked it up, put it in my bag, and then I tried to get back out the door, but I couldn't. So that's when I teleported away. And I don't know really what happened with Shinnik and Gira. I assume they told you on the way?
Did they? did we have that conversation last
did
session?
I don't think we did. No.
You did walk 20 minutes together, so I'd be surprised if would you not have told them?
Gira?
I think we would have, yeah. I think
Alright.
we would have had a
Yeah.
conversation about that.
Yeah, okay. All right then. In which case, okay. Well, I mean that sounds like it may have pissed them off a bit, but
That's alright. I don't mind pissing them off a bit.
yeah,
In fact,
I think they
kind of wanted to.
yeah. I mean, I think they just wanted us. I think they just wanted you guys gone at that point. Like I mean, by the sounds of it, they just didn't want the Oak Bull in Baratheon. They weren't really particularly fixed on keeping you guys imprisoned.
Can't imprison me if they tried.
They just don't want the strangers being a pest to their schemes, I suppose.
That does make sense. Well,
Yeah. Oh. One other thing. Do you know who Naxos is?
I've heard of Naxos.
Well, he controls the Kara Concord currently, and has declared war on all mortals. They burned down a good chunk of VL the other day. We killed his son and 2 other dragons that were with him.
They were all his sons.
Sorry, we killed 3 of his sons. In response, including Arnax, his oldest, I believe. Right.
Athanax.
Arnax. No, Arnax, not Arnax. Did not kill Arnax.
Don't kill
Killed
Arnax.
Arthanax.
We killed Athanax with the help of Arnax.
There's a lot of Nax around.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's bought us some time, but I mean, frankly, I don't know what their numbers are. More will come.
Sounds like Naxos is going to take kindly to that news.
Probably not. Maybe his, well, that might play to our favor. You know, if he flies into a blind rage and just throws caution to the wind, it might be easier for us to win. If he's calm and calculated, then I imagine that's gonna be more more of a problem for us. Yeah, maybe he sends every dragon and every dragon at his disposal to fly across the seas and assail Orthaid. Meanwhile, Gira leads us in, and we get an audience with just him, or at least maybe him and a very small guard. Obviously, if there's, I don't know, 50 dragons flying around, we'd be outmatched.
Sounds like
Even with Massa's help, if she does decide to help.
Well, it sounds like you're going to need as much help as you can get.
Yep.
For sure. Oh, and here's the kicker. That's not even the greatest threat facing us at the moment. There's a planet on the way. So, would have been quite nice to have the Kyra Concord to help with that, but no. That's not going to be a thing.
It just gets worse and worse, I'm afraid.
We'll just remake the Kyra Concord. Here's a secret I've been keeping. I'm actually ancient dragon.
Whoa,
You've been...
really?
I mean, you've been keeping that pretty well.
This whole time.
Don't turn into a dragon then.
I transform into the.
Yeah, I reveal my true form.
Oh, damn it, Mona, that would have been so helpful.
Yeah, so many fights could have been like a lot easier if you just told him.
Saka probably wouldn't be alive today if you had
You bitch!
Saka, Vondel, like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I only realized recently, guys.
Oh.
I just.
Wait, did Gira modify memory on you to make you not remember that you were a dragon? And
Dum dum dum.
Oh, I wish I was a dragon.
It's been plotting the whole campaign from the get-go. Give us the local BBG.
It has all come full circle.
It would be fun to be a dragon because
Alright.
you could fly. And breathe fire, maybe acid,
Wait,
or whatever.
wait, have you not flown?
Yeah, I've flown on the carpet,
All right.
but actually be able to fly like a dragon does.
What's the difference?
They have wings and cooler.
I mean, we could fashion you some wings, and I could cast fly on you if that's what you
Okay.
really want.
Cast fly on me.
Okay. Anyone else want in? Professor Methric? Not seen a flying mind flayer before. Johan?
He's just chomping down on fruit at the moment. He's not particularly very much interested.
Alright, we can do this another time. It's alright. You keep your spells to yourself.
Okay.
As that happens, so Gero and Melinda and Massamantha come back, as well as Shinnok.
Good afternoon,
So-
everyone.
Afternoon.
Hello.
So I assume you both know of the war that is underway then?
The Dragon War or the other wars that were
The-
involved with?
The Dragon War involving Naxus declaring war on all of mortal kind.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I'm pretty sure it was obvious from the get-go, considering he just burnt down part of VL.
Massamantha sort of walks into the threshold of Erstwald and looks around and says, "Well, it seems like we should do something about that."
Indeed. This is Massamantha has, and can I turn to Massa and get her kind of nod first? I assume she knows what he's gonna say. Massamantha has agreed, and he turns to her. Does she nod back?
What's that?
No, Gira kind of looks to Massamantha and kind of say, Massamantha has kindly agreed, and kind of looks to her for kind of to confirm that she's content.
She says, "Whilst it hurts me to see Dragonkind split, I concede that this is the lesser of two evils. That whatever Cairo Concord remains in the Basal Tiles is not the one that we know and love.
It is not. And it is why we hope to leverage your support, take the fight to Naxos, to end him once and for all. Obviously, to defend the mortal races of the world, but to get justice for the atrocities he has committed and helped commit. I do
I
not
will
know.
help.
And what of your comrades? He kind of turns to Shai, Professor Methrick, and
Johan.
Johan.
Shai nods. Johan says, "Oh, I didn't expect this, but it is what it is. The Strangers have always been an organization which have tried to protect the natural world and natural order of things, and if there is something against that, then we shall, of course, help."
I just like tot up the numbers, so there's 9 of us, right? Here. Is that correct? Or is it, wait, hold on, is it 10? So there's Strangers 4, Melindra 5, us 5, so there's 10 in total.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, though I do appreciate all of your support, this hammer can only particularly accommodate 8 other people and provide safe passage for the basal tiles.
So is it
I could
similar
teleport
to
over.
is it similar to regular teleportation, just longer range?
Well,
The-
go on. You explain.
So, the way that teleport spells work in this world is that they can only go across the continent. The Stoneshift is the only method of being able to teleport over continents.
Right, so it's essentially when you're at the Stoneshift, you can, if you're able to use it, basically cast teleport.
Yeah,
So
basically
same
it's something
limit
that
and stuff.
only the librarian can do, but only with 8 people. 9 people, sorry. The librarian and 8 other people.
Didn't know of
Professor
that.
Methrick does the... Well... I'm not really sure I'm in the tip-top shape for fighting.
You don't seem it, buddy. You seem rather ill.
Yeah, I mean, you have just come back from. I mean, you basically just come back from the brink of death, right? I think you could do with a rest. I mean, you seem a bit more chipper, but yeah, take some time.
Yeah.
What got rid of Morna's mind flayer tadpole?
Killing her and then bringing her back to life.
You mean the first one?
I look at Methrick as soon as Scrimshaw says this, as if to say, you know.
No,
I think this is a little
bad
more than a
scripture.
tadpole.
Not scripture, bad sugar.
Yeah, the
Naughty.
transformations happen now. So it's not something you can get rid of.
Can't kill him, Chinook. I'm sorry.
That's not what I was saying.
No calamari for you.
Yeah, you are of course welcome to stay here as long as you need.
Alright, I might take you up on that offer.
Yeah, can't imagine. I imagine you may have a hard time going out into the world under your current guise. Do you have means of disguise if you do need to venture out, or will you need us to fetch things for you?
I can lay low here.
Well, it's autumn. There'll be apples plenty growing on the trees outside. You can help yourself too.
It's true.
Perhaps we should send messages to Tarman to make sure they don't murder him on the case of him being a mind flayer.
That is true.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
so here's a fun story. My whole temple are living on the grounds, and they were all wiped out apart from 15 of us, by mind flayers. So, or not mind flayers, but mind flayer-esque things. So they might have an issue with you hiding here, but I'll just go and I'll just hold on a second. I use my sending stone to Tommen to just send her a message quickly to say, hi Tommen.
You get a reply saying, "Hello, Mona."
So with one of our friends who's a mind flayer, but they've got the insight. They know that they're human on the inside. Was he a human?
Yeah.
Their human personality is still within them. And they're currently living in our house. Could you just make sure nobody murders him, please? He's called Professor Methrick, and he's an alright guy.
There's like a bit of silence, and then you get a reply saying, "Sure, I will let everyone know."
Thank you. There you go for console.
You just
What's
not
so weird?
Could you just not told them that they were living here? Because now they might come and kill him.
Well, no, because the whole temple's living in the woods next. Oh, the whole temple's living in the woods next door, not next door, but on the grounds. And they sometimes, but if he's gonna be in the woods as well,
I guess.
getting
Yeah,
vegetables and whatnot.
he-
The recently a lot of our peasants who were working, I mean workers,
Peasants.
employees who were working on the farmland nearby, decided to leave. So if you want to go and get any food from there that's grown, probably if it's winter the autumn there'll be potatoes or sweet corn, maybe growing in there. So that could keep you going for a while. You just have to actually pick it.
Well, I did like my gardening back in my day.
Well, feel free to garden away.
I will. And he sort of has like a glint in his eye where he looks like happy to be alive and also to not have any real responsibilities for a while.
So, when are we going to fight the dragons?
What time is it?
It's about midday, probably. No, it's probably in the afternoon slash. But yeah, it's probably in the afternoon.
Well, I've
How
had a
long
long
is-
rest by this time. No, short rest, sorry.
Yeah, you can have a short rest.
Okay, get my key.
How long is it till the wedding?
10 days.
Oh,
10 days.
I want to go to the wedding so bad. I'm so excited.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask Amir first. Come with me. Too nervous though.
Roxanne,
What if she says no?
Hello.
don't. I was just thinking, before we go, it might be a good idea for us to just get that ring of yours, fully,
Yeah.
fully
This little thingy.
fully powered, powered up, unlocked, whatever the
Unleashed.
term is. Sure.
Yes, I mean, I think we have to kill something to do that. Of a certain type.
Do I have to kill you again?
I think you said it.
No.
I think you said it was an earth elemental, right?
Oh yes, that was the one. An earth
Oh.
elemental.
You've
There
got
were-
that. You don't have to. You don't have to play dumb, Roxanne. I know you're smarter than me.
just
I
don't
won't
want
be
you to-
offended.
I just don't want you to feel bad.
I thought he took off the headband of
I,
insulin because
I
he
did
didn't
take
like
off.
the way it felt.
I have taken it off, but I am still smarter than the scripture.
Well, there were
taken off.
earth elementals up near Orestas, aren't there?
Don't we have the elemental lodestone of Earth anyway? I mean, I don't encourage breaking it, but
That might be a bit of a larger earth elemental than
Yeah.
we intend to
Probably.
face.
Just a little earth elemental. Little one.
Little earth elemental, yeah. 20-minute adventure. In, out.
Did you want to
Yeah,
go to
it's-
the elemental plane of Earth?
That
planes.
I mean, that seems
that
like
exist?
is plane of Earth not just here? Is this the plane of Earth?
There's places where earth elementals are more common around here.
Yeah, I mean we ran into some Earth elementals in near
Orvis.
RVC. Yes, in
Well,
in
maybe we
near
should
Gothric's.
take a quick little adventure to a VC.
Yeah,
Oh,
Chinook,
yeah,
you could meet
like that.
Chinook. You maybe could meet our friend Gothric. Have a nice chat.
Yeah, have a nice chat, just you two.
Go fuck yourselves.
Well, that'd be nice. Get to see my old pal Gothric again.
If that's the purpose, I'd rather we talk about something before we leave.
What do you want to talk about?
First of all, I'm going to need your promises not to murder me. Each of you.
I mean, I'm definitely
John
not going to
tenses
promise
his
that.
axe in his hand.
I mean, I'll.
I sort of promise.
I mean, not
Depends
without.
what you're about to tell me, especially not now. You just said that. I've
know, if-
murdered Roxanne before.
Did you kill Clive?
I
Where's
didn't.
Clive? Where's
I
Clive?
didn't. He's with Halcyon, you.
Ah! I'll put the chair down. Sorry.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose any more chairs, God. This is becoming a legitimate
Can't
expense.
afford to lose any more chairs. 3 wooden chairs.
They're nice chairs, okay?
What? Thousands and thousands of gold. Sorry, you were saying. I'm not gonna promise that, but I'll try not to.
So, Scrimshaw,
Hmm.
your memories. I wasn't lying where I said I knew Hakul would be the only one I knew of who could fix your brain.
Hmm.
But we can't trust him.
I mean, from what you said before, it doesn't sound like he's someone to just openly trust.
Not just that. Your exploits are far-reaching, Scrimshaw. All of you.
Right.
Everything you've done, everything you've come across. Hakul cannot leave the Feywild. But something you found can help him to do so.
We've found a lot of things. You're going to need to be more specific.
We have a lot of artifacts.
The Elder Box.
I mean, that's gone. It was destroyed.
You found more than one.
Did we?
Did we?
You found one in Oravisi.
Yeah, but we can't take that.
Could take it.
Won't that make the
doesn't-
mountain collapse?
He doesn't care.
See,
We're not.
usually I wouldn't have an issue with making a mountain collapse. It's just a mountain. But the fact that it's like our friend sort of relies on the mountain because there's a god
Would
in
be
there.
kind of a dick move.
I'm not gonna do that. We'll have to find a different one if that's the
Yeah,
route you want to go
even
down.
even from
I
a
don't-
selfish perspective, we need the orcs for when the planet comes to destroy this planet.
What I mean is, a long time ago, Hakul manipulated me. I helped Shai, and he forced me into a service. I thought being the best poet alive meant having the best ability at speech, best ability at song, and I thought I could give all of my life to Hakul for just that, but I fell in love. And
With Hakul?
no, no. Another Fae. Another Fae. Jeez. The word she can bring into being is magnificent. And so, when Hakul learned of your exploits, here I knew what I could do. I'm going to bring him down. I know what he will do to me. I know what he will do to everyone else. That Elder Box will bring him out of the Feywild. Everyone that falls under his dominion will fall under him. And he will exercise his power over all. I cannot let that happen.
And is that why you're here? To bring him that Elder Box?
The reason he brought me here is to bring him the Elder Box. The reason I am here is to vanquish him. Once and for all.
Do you think it can be done?
Eventually. It requires one thing. And this is the reason I've been pressuring you all to go to the Feywild. I need his name.
So it's not because there's cool stuff there.
Is his name not Hakul? That's what you call him?
His true name. No one goes by their true name in the Feywild. True name has power, it has commitment, it has weight.
Would that mean that any of us, with our names freely known in the Feywild, would be subject to those dangers?
You have to go by other names, surely.
If we have
Do you
our
just
names already
know that-
known. Presumably Hakul, if he's, targeted this group, knows our exploits, he knows our names already. Would that not give him a certain amount of power over us, or does that only apply to the Fae?
I'm not clear. What I do know is he expects you to arrive to beg for his ability to give you your memories back in return for some form of knowledge. I believe we can exploit this.
The knowledge being the location of that box?
Yes.
Hmm.
If we place the Elder Box within some form of location, that can be used to hold him permanently while we go out to discover his name in the Feywild. We can have dominion over him.
What if... Would he see through... Would he see through a memory that has been modified? I mean, it's already... my memory is already
Would I know?
scattered in that way. If Gira were to plant false memories in my mind...
He is an archfey. He is ridiculously more powerful than any of you.
Plus, surely he would...
Sounds pretty strong.
I mean, otherwise he would know, if we were setting a trap, he'd know that the trap was being set, right? If he was able to see the memories.
We can't defeat him by normal means. We need to find a way to trick him.
If he has unfettered access to my memories, then the only way that I would see to trick him would be to change those memories so that I truly believe something other than the truth. I just worry that if he's undoing those locks that have been put in place, then he may undo all locks.
Following this discussion, I will require Gira to modify your memory specifically, so that we'd never had this discussion.
All of our memories, or
just Scrimshaw?
I'm not sure about Scrimshaw getting his memories back. Because made Gira different. What if it makes Scrimshaw different? I like him the way he is.
Scrimshaw also...
He's like a
Scrimshaw
dad.
has lived... I don't know how long as he was. And he's lived I don't know how long as he is. Do you trust the Scrimshaw you know?
Yeah, but I don't trust the Scrimshaw that he might have been. What if he was a horrible, horrible person and he gets those memories back? And then he's like, oh yeah, I have a thirst for blood.
I don't even drink.
But you might, if you become evil again.
My point is... if you can trust the Scrimshaw you know, Scrimshaw he has become, despite everything else. You have to trust him in this, if this is what he wants.
Is this what you want?
I mean, I want
Thirst
to.
for blood.
I need to know. I'm not in a rush. You know, I've lived a long life. I can, if it takes decades, I can wait. But I need to know who I am, where I've come, what's happened. I need to know whether Aaron is worth rescuing. Whether, I mean, can't just leave him in limbo, unknowing not whether he should be brought out or not. I need to have enough information to make that decision.
Okay. What about this Hekul guy? Can't we just go and fight him?
No,
Mm.
he knows your names.
Well, I don't even know my birth name.
Very well.
So sorry, this name thing. Is it like names that you were given your birth name, or is it the name that you go by? Because Morna's always gone by Morna, but she does have a birth name.
Presumably,
She just doesn't know
Hakul's
it.
always gone by Hakul.
Hakul has always gone by Hakul because that's what people know Hakul is.
So it must be a
Hakul.
birth name then, right? Unless there's some other kind of name that we don't know about.
Must be a birth name then. So he doesn't know my birth name. Nobody does. I mean, apart from my parents, but who knows? I mean, I don't really. Yeah, well, we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, if we figure out what your birth name is, that might be detrimental to us.
Yeah, let's just not figure it out. I don't need to know. I've been fine my whole life not knowing.
For all I know, Scrimshaw isn't my name. I mean, Chinook.
You
That's
might be
Chinook.
Clive.
I mean, Chinook sounds like a kind of like a made-up name. That might be
I think
not
it's-
your real name.
shush, No, hey, shush. I think it's
Huh?
Elven. Shush. Don't-
Wait, what is
Scrimshaw's racist.
Is it,
I
I can't be racist. My dad was an elf.
My friends are elves.
Oh, no.
my
My
enslaver
mate.
was an elf.
When would you wish to go to the Feywild? Oh, when do you wish us to?
When we're done with whatever this is.
Very well.
What, preparing for a wedding? We all need to get
We
new
were getting my
clothes.
ring.
Well, I was hoping we'd deal with Naxos first.
I want to do my ring first.
Well, I want to go
I'll
to
throw
the
this chair.
wedding.
I'll throw the chair. I swear to God.
I
I'll throw this
I mean,
chair.
if
I'll smash every chair in this goddamn house.
Everyone has
I mean,
something
we
different.
we
One
want to
is the
be.
least important. Actually, I feel like going to the wedding of very important people is quite important. And also, she's hyped.
I mean, the wedding's in 10 days. I don't know how long this business with Naxos will take. If we're taking the Stoneshift, then presumably we're there straight, pretty much immediately.
hope correct.
With
So note Roxon's adventure.
It's only a little adventure.
Well, if we can have the time for it, see why not? But you know that every day we leave it, the day we're rolling the dice.
Yeah.
I just figure if we
Can we get to the Stoneshift yet? Well, or do you need more gems?
Can we trust Scrimshaw even?
trust me.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Aaron wanted to find the stone shift. And he
Does-
changed your memories. Who knows if he's looking through you right now?
Alright, well, Scrimshaw, go and wait in the kitchen.
Wait, what?
Go and wait in the kitchen.
Wait,
While we talk about this, and then you can
Right.
come back later.
really?
Or we could always just go to the war room.
That would be
True.
preferable option.
We should probably have all these kind of conversations in the war room, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of out of habit to have it in life. Really?
Yeah, it's more comfy down there.
Do you care to join us in the war room? I think I looks to Massamantha Millinger. Guy.
They agree.
We'll bundle into our tiny
No.
war room.
Yeah, Sam, it might get a little cozy.
Yeah, it's a bit cozy in here.
Oh,
So
it sat on my flute! Ah!
yeah, bit cozy in here. No transforming into dragons. Anyone?
Yeah.
I shut the big door.
Mhm.
So, do you need more gems to get to the stone shift? Or are you...
Honor, I am good to go, as they
Aye.
say.
I thought you needed 3.
Gira shows up the hammer, and he shows the two sides. So there's a hammer kind of on either side. What the fuck is in the room?
It's just yeah.
Giant creature. No, he. So you see the two gems either side, kind of crackling. There's only 2.
Right, well, I guess we should go then. Had my short rest, so I got my key
Sure.
back.
Should we perhaps have a bit of a sleep before we leave?
Do
Or
we need to?
For some of us that might need it.
I mean,
Perhaps.
yeah. Personally, I'm fine. I'm good to go. But if other people need it, then
You should be able to rest in the stone shifts as well. There are accommodations, as far as I remember. We used to station soldiers here, or I did. It's easy to move them around, but even better to keep them here. You could move people all over the place, so to spare right now.
yeah, I mean, I
Very
think
much doubt the stone shifts have been taken over by any being.
and I believe we have rested since our last encounter, in which we would have depleted any of our strength.
Well, you have just been in Baratheon, and Chinook used glibness there.
Oh, that's true. Okay, a rest it is then. I suppose we want everyone full strength.
Yes.
So it is decided we are going tomorrow then, Massa says.
It seems so.
Right.
I think it is wise to be at full strength.
Yeah,
Well, the waiting does make me nervous.
and we can't miss the wedding.
We cannot miss the wedding. I was gonna ask Aidmer to come with me.
Yeah,
You-
they did help. They did help us kill the Elder Brain. We can't miss their wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be
I-
fun to.
How are you going to bring Aidmere over?
Because I want to have a date for the wedding, and this is my
Right.
chance to show her my true feelings.
I'm not asking why, I'm asking how.
We are gonna go there on our way there.
On our way
where?
there.
Oh yeah, on our way to Orivisi. We can stop there.
They're on the opposite
It's.
way.
I mean, it's.
Oh, yes.
I mean, Gothric would probably want to go
Yeah, sorry.
there.
Orivisi, I mean. We can stop there.
Or-
We'll
or
we
a-
do.
or a
We can.
specimen.
I
Does
keep getting it
actually
wrong.
that's a point actually. Does Gothric even?
Stas.
That's a point actually. Does Gothric even know that that they're
Gothric's
getting married?
probably got an invitation.
Yeah.
Probably.
Will he make his own way there, or would he appreciate the?
I'm sure
Have you met Gothric, Gira?
It's,
He
it's
has
not. It's not that. Kira, of course, Kira's met Gothric.
I
Is that-
have many times had the pleasure,
yeah,
and you were
yeah.
there as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry.
And I thought
too
I
many-
was the
yeah.
senile one.
I'm not quite accustomed to being the stupid one.
Wow.
Right. Well,
Right.
I suppose maybe close to the time you could message him, see if he wants if he needs transportation. I imagine he probably doesn't want to take weeks out of his schedule to go there by foot.
I imagine War Chief Gothric has very much probably got this all in hand.
He may have his own magisters and such. I don't know. Not sure
Indeed.
how advanced the tribes have become since we left.
They've probably got, flying vehicles and things.
Flying vehicles? What?
It was a joke. It was a funny joke. Just
Is that just like a magic carpet, a flying carpet, but with like stuff attached to it?
Well,
Don't
the
understand.
horse could be flying on a cart and, using, I don't know, explosives.
Right,
Explosives.
should we think about having a break then?
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right, come back at 1:45 then.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Stopping the stream.
Okay.
Well, muting.
Uh,
All right, welcome back. So before the break, everyone had a bit of a discussion about what they wanted to do next. It was decided that Naxus would be defeated, and the 9 of you were in agreement with Professor Metherick deciding to step back and rest. So, what would you like to do?
Make a plan.
Is
Yeah,
this the
Kira-
morning?
Kira, you meant
Okay.
It's still the evening. You can have if you wanted a long rest, you could do that obviously.
yeah, Gira, you mentioned that the Stoneshift had places to rest. So we're in the. I suppose we can speak freely now as we're in the war room. Where is the Stoneshift? How far away is it? Is it a matter of distance? I don't know.
Well, it's nestled within Orthode. Mike, would Gira know specifically where it is in relation to today?
No, Gira may never have actually been to this stone shift, so
Right.
it would be quite hard to know exactly where it is.
Okay. Well, you see, as the High Librarian, I tend to entrust matters of moving truths to my war masters and the various broods and their consults. I sat in more coordinating and leadership positions, so not 100% sure exactly where it is.
So, does your hammer bring us there, or what?
Yes, so the hammer will take us to the nearest stone shift. Of course, I've been to the one numerous times in the basalt isles. It was convenient and easy. But the one where we are here is less known to me. But I know for a fact that we garrison many men and women over the years.
How do you know these garrisons are still up and running? Is there any reason for us to rest there rather than here?
Well, I doubt there's anyone particularly there anymore. I don't know when it all went south. They dispersed into their various ways, various directions. But it should be empty. I don't see why anyone would. Otherwise, people like Tail wouldn't be looking for the long way. There would be intelligence somewhere or another about getting in them.
But there's no benefit to going and resting there rather than staying
Oh,
here
none
and just heading
none
there,
at
then
all.
heading straight
No.
out. We can do both. We can head there and head to the basalt tiles without.
My recommendation would be that we head to the basalt isles and subsist within the stone shift there, conduct a rest, and while that's taking place, those who maybe want to venture out a little in reconnaissance and scout the area have the opportunity to do so.
Wait, so you would. So I'm just sorry. How's this going to work? Do you?
So what my recommendation, Scrimshaw, is that the 8 of us travel through before we long rest, potentially. We then use the stone shift device in Orthade to go through the basalt isles. Once we are in the basalt isles stone shift area, we then rest. We can then use that as a staging ground for reconnaissance and scouting if required, to get a feel for where Naxus may be. I have a feeling I know where he might be, but I may be wrong. Which means that, we have a bit of time to think, see what the state of play is before we just charge blindly.
So you think you may be able to gather information while we rest there?
Potentially. I'm sure I don't know if the garrison kept records. It is best practice for them to do so. Maybe we'd get some information that could be useful.
And you're sure that the stone shift there will be safe?
I see no reason why it shouldn't.
You're the expert.
Melindra, do you concur with this thought process? Having been a dragon, I'm sure you're more recently acquainted to the Basal Tiles than me.
I think once the High Librarian was no longer in the Basal Tiles, the knowledge and properties of the Stoneshift soon became less valuable.
Well put. And does anyone else have any objections to this path? Please, all of your lives are guaranteed you will come back. So please do voice any concerns as we go.
So long as it winds to your resolution of your life, happy with doing whatever I can.
My thanks. I do hope you see that it isn't just a resolution for myself.
Oh, of course not. Of course not, but right now you're all I care about, so regardless of what happens, so long as it brings you peace, I'm happy.
My thanks. Anyone else?
No, I say we go and kill these dragons.
Let's crack some dragon skulls.
Excellent. Once again, you have my thanks, strangers, for your assistance in this endeavor. It is highly appreciated.
I thought you were calling us strangers there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
So,
wow.
Well, okay, someone's a dick.
I'm suddenly changed my mind.
So,
To be
well,
fair, you know, when you've lived for many hundreds of years, if you've only known someone for a few months, like, they're basically a stranger in your mind, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
From that
Sagira hasn't
perspective.
lived hundreds of years. It's kind of a normal lifespan, but it's just obviously he kind of got paralyzed in 100 years.
Well, normal lifespan for Dragonborn is hundreds of years, right?
No, it's not
Is it not?
particularly much longer than. Nah.
Oh, I thought
particularly
Gira
much
was like the
longer.
same age as Scrimshaw.
No.
Oh.
I mean, Gira was around when Scrimshaw was sort of.
Oh,
like,
right.
Obviously, like he got transported through time, basically.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he had existed somewhere for that period of time.
Well,
Oh.
he
I
did.
also didn't know
So
that.
so he did exist, but he kind of like existed within the Tempest, and it was kind of like he was kind of kept alive, like his spirit and consciousness, and kind of it was quite ethereal
Like in
rather
stasis.
than anything. Yeah, I mean, he was kind of cognizant of it all, but it was all kind of like, I don't know, like a crazy trip.
It was like a fever dream, basically.
Yeah.
Until he got sort of spat out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being
So-
said, Massamantha nods and says, "You have my aid in this endeavor."
Very much appreciated. Yeah, may the ancestors thank you. Right. And then Kira kind of hobbles forward into the middle of the kind of circular room. Now, I must admit, it's been a while since anybody's used this method of teleportation, so apologies in advance if you end up losing your hair or something ridiculous like that. It has been known to do some funny things, but I'm sure it will be fine. Right, let's go.
I clutch my beard.
Your very strange beard that I still don't quite know how exists. And Gira holds up the hammer, and like the room is suddenly like bathed in a kind of I guess bluey yellowy glow. And Micah will he uses the ability to
Okay,
teleport
so
himself.
there's this sort of like radiant magic which begins to spring forth from the hammer. Different shade to the usual stormy magic that Gira has used before. It's more of a multicolored, more arcane type of magic. the wisps that shoot out from the hammer begin to sort of circle around each of you as you begin to feel yourself being almost lifted off the ground by it. It's almost like it's wrapped itself around you and has begun to pick you up. And then before you know it, you're sucked inwards towards the hammer. And there's this sort of feeling of falling, similar to other teleportation spells, until you land in a circular room, dark. The Morna and Scrimshaw, and maybe Roxol, I don't know.
Oh, is it Aaron Shander's castle? Not
You
castle,
do
tower.
recognize this place as being the basement of Aaron Chander's tower.
Yeah.
The orb that floats in the center of the room that you used to go to these different areas before. Gira, you immediately noticed that something weird's about it, because obviously you haven't been here before. Aaron Shander has... You immediately recognize the fact that Aaron has sort of changed it and been working on it to try and like access its qualities over the years. And the Stoneshift, although seemingly similar to how it always was, there's this sort of quite dark and oppressive magical aura that surrounds it. Scrimshaw, you immediately sort of have that uncomfortable feeling like you shouldn't be in this part of the tower, which was always something that you felt.
Oh.
Whose are we? Is it dark?
Yeah, it's pitch black at the moment. Well, actually, it's not pitch black. It's like dim light, because the orb that's in the center of the Stoneshift, which isn't actually part of the Stoneshift, it's something that Aaron's brought there to sort of take control over it. So you're not actually that far away from where you were before. But yeah, this orb there's this dark and oppressive magic coming from it, which has sort of taken over control of the Stoneshift in a way.
Gira use light in the room, just so...
Yeah, it lights up. The orb is sort of like shifting in colours, going from green to red to purple.
Gira, this is the well, this is within Aaron's, well, his abode. This is where I grew up. Well, where I thought I grew up. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore.
I'm so sorry, my boy. This is... I much rage for Aaron Shander right now. He has desecrated everything about us. What is this place?
We came here before, and this seemed to take us to a series of almost memories? With like moments locked in time.
Massamantha says, "It seems that without the hammer, there was only so much Aaron Shander could do with this area. He must have been trying to tap into it, to try and use it somehow."
Curious. The ley lines are all wrong. It's dark, oppressive. There's maleficent. How can you say the word? Maleficent. No, what's the word? Maleficent?
Oh, that's right, Maleficent.
Maleficent. That's bad. He has done some rather maleficent. I just can't say the word. It turns out to this place.
Right, evil.
Does it look like? So each of the portals. So when I remember when Gideon was here, there's like different portals and different like areas around the like in a circle. Would that be like the normal layout of what the Stoneshift looked like?
The Stoneshift is more of a big teleportation pad. It's like a big teleportation circle, or like an area, like a circle that's just built into the ground. That is in a particular area that is able to transport between continents.
Okay.
So, whatever was here originally has been sort of worked on by Aaron Shander to like try and unlock the abilities of it.
Yeah, and these other teleport things are set within that kind of radius.
It's to do the teleportation thing was to do with the big floating orb in the center of the room. Because remember, it goes to different colors, and when you touch it in different colors, it takes you to wherever what the color is associated
That's
with.
right. Yeah. And so each of the stone shifts have a big thing in the middle, like a big round thing.
No, not usually. This is new. This is something that Aaron Chan has clearly put here to try and.
I see, to replicate the powers of the hammer or something.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah. To try and take in that responsibility, but clearly it hasn't worked in the way that the hammer works. It works in a different magical way.
Well, this abomination can't be allowed to us. Scrimshaw, how can we get rid of it?
Don't ask me.
Did you not live with him?
When I lived here, I couldn't go. I was not allowed nor physically able to go here.
We could try blowing it up.
Is it? Can we do like an arcane check? Like, does it look like a strong type of magic? I mean, I should.
You could do arcade history or religion if you want.
Can I do one as well?
Sure.
Sure. Arcana, history, or religion. Arcana.
So, Kira, having a look at it, it looks like it may need some. You're not entirely sure how it is really affecting the Stoneshift itself, whether it will interfere in some way with your use of it. And Chinook, as you look at it, you notice that there's this sort of weird draw that it has. The more you stare at it, there's this sort of like dark pull it has. Some demonic presence.
Chinook's gonna reel back and kind of try and push Gira away as he's doing so.
What is the meaning of this?
There's some form of demonic presence here. I don't trust it at all.
Maybe it is better we do rest now, before attempting to dismantle whatever's in there.
Melindra says, "What is this? This isn't a Stoneshift, is it?"
I believe it is, Melindra, but I believe it's been tainted by Aaron Shander.
Didn't. I don't know what's been shared with me, I've already forgotten. But didn't Shander consort with a demon?
Ashigal, yes.
Then perhaps Ashigal's magic is ever present here.
And Ashigal may well have been his shortcut to power that you seem to witness in your memory, Gira.
I fear you are correct.
If that's the case, is anything ever really Shander's fault?
We'll have a
You
choice.
assume that he was controlled by Ashigal, not just emboldened by him, not just empowered.
Control can take more than one form. Sometimes those under the thumb of another believe with their whole heart that they're serving their own ends. That by serving those above them, they can bring about peace and justice.
Maybe, but
Who knows how much Ashigal has infected Shandir's mind?
only Ashigal.
Melindra says, well, at least we got our answer that Aaron Shanda did find the Stoneshift. But it seems that he was unable to use it in the way that he had hoped.
Hmm.
That could
Those,
work.
yeah, I mean, those memories, those points in time that we were able to access before. The stone shift, Gira, do you know if it's been used in the past to travel not just through, uh, well, across large distances, but through time as well?
Do you want me to roll on that, or would Kira just know?
You'd know that not something that was it was used for.
Okay. Would it be something that was theoretically possible?
It's something that had never been proposed.
Okay. Yeah, Kira just reiterates that. The Scrimshaw. And everyone, obviously.
Right.
Melindra says, what if it's something to do with the Tempest?
What is
How
your
so?
line of reasoning?
Well, you said that the Tempest seemed to have some sort of timelessness or connection with time that was somehow strange. What if the things that happened then somehow affected how I don't know. I'm just theorizing.
Sounds preposterous to me, Melindra.
Massamantha sort of steps up to it and says, steps up to the orb and says, whatever this is, it seems to be an addition to the stone shift. There seems to be something perhaps within this orb, which is here and not here at the same time. Maybe it's using the stone shift for its own ends.
Can it be dispelled? Or banished? Saying it's using things for its own ends, that would imply some kind of sentience to it.
Cool.
Is it a something or a someone?
Someone. Jinx. Pathfinder 23.
I can. Melindra said. Massamantha says, I can feel a presence within it. Something dark.
So if we were to dispel, oh sorry, I can't talk.
I got you.
Sorry, because I was jinxed. No,
He didn't say no return, so you could have done it back.
Oh, that's true. It's actually opposite day, so
Get ready.
so if we are to dispel it, there may be something. I mean, then perhaps if the outer layer, whatever this is dispelled, something inside may.
As you go to touch it,
Be released.
Shai just grabs you and shakes her head.
Okay.
Do you know anything more about this? You've been awfully quiet. I'm not quite sure how your type speak. I read in tomes that mouth being binded. How do you normally do it, Chinook? Or Massa?
Well, when I want to conversate with Shai, at least, I tend to produce this notebook and hand her a quill.
Would it not make more sense for Shai to just have her own notebook?
We'll use message.
It's for our own private conversation, so I can look back on it.
Shai walks up to it and begins to just hold her hand out and just closes her eyes and just focuses on that. And for a moment she's sort of like stood there, and then she suddenly recoils, as if she's like shocked, and takes a few steps back and shakes her head and looks at you all, and as if to say, like, there's something very powerful in there.
Is it an elder box?
For our sake, I hope not.
You said it was demonic. What if that's actually
Shai walks up to you and asks for the notebook. She like holds her hand.
I hand her the notebook, yeah.
She begins to draw a sort of quite abstract representation of this plane, and she draws a few like different circles above it and a few circles below it, and then she sort of draws an abstract reference to some sort of like demi-plane, and points to it, and then points to the orb.
So she. Wait, what?
Are you saying the orb's in a demi-plane? Or translates to a demi-plane?
She nods.
in which, and in that demi-plane, a demon is currently imprisoned?
She shakes her head and writes. The demi-plane is using the Stoneshift to hide. She writes it's hiding within the Stoneshift.
So, if we were to use the Stoneshift, would this set the demon free?
Certainly.
She shakes her head and writes. I think we she writes, I think we could still use the Stoneshift.
Just avoid the demonic part.
Yeah, she basically says that the Stoneshift can go two ways. It can go the way that you normally use it, and then it can also be used as a portal to another demi-plane.
And you're telling me this functionality has always existed?
She shakes her head.
It's something that Aaron's put in place.
So this demi-plane is another destination that could be reached using the Stoneshift.
Yeah.
We don't want to go there.
But why
This
did
is
Aaron want to imprison a demon?
I mean, I'm not 100%. Is there a demon imprisoned in that demi-plane?
There's some form of demonic presence.
Isn't it more of a gateway?
She shakes. She nods and she points to it and writes. Yes, exactly, a gateway. She writes, I could try and work out where it goes, but it will take time.
Do we have time?
We do need to rest. Well, some of us need to rest.
Much as I would have preferred to have rested in the comfort of the basal tiles, I do believe it might be worth spending some time investigating this artifact. I think we should rest here for the night.
Shai nods and begins to walk up to it, and her hands start to glow as she sort of begins to magically probe it, basically.
There are...
Before Shona goes to sleep, he's going to place a blanket over Shai and kind of just migrate to the corner.
Yeah, there are quarters and such upstairs. Limited number of beds, I believe.
He is also going to let Shai know that if she wants, he can create his mansion for her to sleep in for the night.
Shai shakes her head and sort of indicates that she's going to just be working on this.
Okay.
I'll stick here with Shai, just in case. I don't need any. I don't need much in the way of rest. So if I'm interrupted, so be it.
Johan looks around and says, "So this is Aaron Shanda's tower."
What remains of it? I think it looks relatively intact down here, but you head upstairs. Yeah. It's well, there's not a whole lot left.
I'll join you going upstairs. I'll show you the weird tree.
Very well.
Mike, is there any like? Sorry, I told you to go.
No, go ahead. No, go
No,
ahead.
I was just curious if there is any like. Can you tell that this, like, there's anything left here from the Dragonborn that were here, or that used it?
It looks for. I mean, it looks this actual like circular room looks like it was made by the Dragonborn. Well, or made before Aaron was here.
Okay.
Just the additions such as the orb are new.
Right. So there might be a few little passages and like areas where things might have just like.
Yeah.
I think Gira's going to spend his time lamenting and kind of looking through them and just looking around.
Okay.
I doubt there'd be much there unless Aaron Chan just didn't care, which might also be true.
Yeah, it's been kind of gutted of anything that was like from the Dragonborn times.
Okay.
He's clearly worked on this room a lot, trying to work out how to use the Stoneshift and how to harness its power.
Grimshaw, do you ever remember Aaron using it?
Using this?
Using this room?
I mean, he'd go down here, but I wasn't allowed to go in.
You weren't allowed in the basement, were you?
I didn't really. I don't know. For some, I never really wanted to. Going near here, just my attention was always diverted elsewhere. I come here and I just. You ever just get that uncomfortable feeling going somewhere and you're just like, I should just go. I need to go somewhere else. That was here.
Are you sure that's you?
I mean, I believe it was some kind of enchantment that he placed on here to keep it secret from me. Yeah. But now, I mean, it could be entirely planted in my memory.
Exactly.
I don't know I have no idea what's true from those memories.
Then that means you need to go there most of all.
Well, we've already been here. We did come down here last time we visited. When this group looked quite different.
If you feel that deterrence further on, I think that means you need to delve deeper.
Quite possibly.
Johan begins to go upstairs.
Cool, yeah, I'll go with him.
Okay. As you go back up to the main sort of, you go through the sort of the main door to the Stoneshift and make your way up into the sort of main lobby of Aaron's tower. It's quite drafty, and obviously, the tower is quite ruined. A lot of the wind has seeped in and blown papers and anything of value aside, and the sort of spiral staircase that goes up to the top of the tower. You see the roots of the tree having bound themselves to the stone and having descended most of the way down the staircase. Johan goes up and looks at the tree and says, "This is also dark."
Yeah, listen to what it says. I can't remember what it says. I think my notes up.
He goes up to it and says, "That whispering. Aaron Shanda has been busy, clearly. What is this?" He also looks around the tree on the top of the tower, and he points out to this like knife that's sort of stuck into the tree.
Oh.
He says, You did see that knife before, but I think I forgot. It's the knife, I think.
The knife.
There's like this like sort of black, jagged knife stuck into the tree, and where it sort of has entered into the tree, there's this like black corruption which has started to spread through the tree.
Oh,
And at the on the hilt of the knife is like an eye.
I try and pull it out.
Johan sort of like sticks his hand out and as if to warn you. He says, "I don't think anything good will come from touching that."
I want to touch it. That's not
Sure,
what I
sure.
actually do. I was just like, yeah. But why? What do you think is gonna happen if I touch it?
I don't know. I get the feeling that this wasn't put here by Aaron Shanda, though.
Well, maybe it's time to take it out. We should get Roxon to do it because he's strong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Too easy.
Also, I don't want to do it. Roxon, I'm gonna go and find Roxon and get him to pull the knife out
Oh.
against Johan's instructions.
Okay. So go for Watson.
Yeah. Roxon, there's a knife in the tree, and I'm just really weak and I can't pull it out. I was
Oh.
wondering if you could give it a go
Oh,
instead.
easily. No, not a problem at all. Show me where the tree
We
is.
wander up back to where Johan is. I think Roxon would be able to pull it out.
Oh, easily. Now go to pull it out.
Roxanne's the pull-out king.
I always
As you-
successfully pull out.
Roxanne, as you begin to approach the knife, there's sort of like a dark draw towards it, and there's these sort of whispers that are spoken in this language that you don't recognize.
Mona, I'm not
So-
sure this is a good idea.
Just-
I'm hearing a lot of things.
Well, why don't we just wrap your hand with a cloth or cloth or something? Put some gloves
that-
on.
Is that gonna stop me from becoming evil?
Do you think it's gonna make you evil? Well, I'm already
Maybe.
quite evil, so.
I mean, I'd say I'm sort of neutral.
What kind of neutral? Are you true neutral, lawful,
Fun neutral.
fun neutral?
Think fun
right.
neutral's chaotic neutral, right? I.
How about you put your hand on it and I'll pull?
Okay. Johan, is this gonna kill me?
I don't know.
Is there any way I can do like an Arcana check on it to see if I know anything about the eye or anything? What it's saying.
You can hear the whispers coming from it, and the
What's-
whispers they are suggesting sort of like they're just a lot of names are being thrown around. Main ones you understand and pick up are Ashigal. You hear the word Tarash, and as well as Armistice.
It's just saying. I'm gonna do it. Okay, if I grab the knife, maybe I'll wrap my hands in a blanket or something, so I'm not actually touching it, and then get Roxanne to help me pull it out.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. You wrap your hand in a cloth or something. As you touch the knife, there's this sort of flash in your mind, this like fiery vision that just overcomes your thoughts. And for a moment, you're stood in a sort of black room, not quite knowing what's going on around you.
Okay.
And there's another flash of fire, and this sort of like silhouette appears before you. The fire is sort of creating a shadow. It's like casting a shadow over it. It's a large silhouette of some sort of humanoid creature that stands about 8-9 foot tall, and there's this sort of deep booming voice that just sort of like shakes the inside of your skull. However, the voice is saying things, even in the sort of languages that you can understand. It's saying stuff that you don't quite understand, but you just feel deeply inside you. It's not a language that really like makes literary sense. It's more of a like a compulsion.
Yeah. Okay.
But you have a vision of a city wrapped in fire. The city itself is made of mostly black stone, and the streets are completely empty, except for this large black tower, which sits in the center of it. And you feel this sort of pull towards the tower. But then suddenly you awaken, and you've sort of fallen backwards, and Johan has pulled the knife out of your hands and has tossed it across the room, and it's just set on the ground there. And the sort of black mark in the tree where the knife had been embedded in is beginning to fade. Johan says, are you okay?
Oh, I had a vision. There was flashes of fire and a large silhouette of a man. Or no, not a man, a humanoid creature. They're really tall, like Roxon's height, and there was this deep booming voice that's just shaking my skull, and I couldn't really work out what they were saying, but because
Now
they weren't.
Now you're thinking about it. The feeling that you seem to have gotten from it is the voice saying, "I see you."
And the voice was saying, "I see you." And then there was this vision of a city which was wrapped in fire, and the city was made mostly black stone, and the streets all empty, and there was this big black tower, and I felt being pulled to. Oh, excuse me. Being pulled towards.
Johan says, "What is that place?"
Would I know anything about that place, considering the nature of like hackles?
I think you're downstairs at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Do we know anything? A city made of stone. The only the place I can think of that would be maybe like that would be. Oh wait, no. Would it be the one that we're not allowed to go to anymore? That's not Dormont. The other one, in the Underdark.
Vandir.
Not Vandir.
Was it like Vandir?
Nah, Vandir didn't have any fire in there.
Yeah, but did it have? It has a big tower, right? Was it like
black
Vandir
spire.
without the fire?
The tower itself was different to the one in Thandir. The tower itself was more sort of jagged. It had like architecture which had like spikes sticking out of it, and it looked more like some sort of. It looked more like a watchtower or some like massive prison of some sort.
It's like obsidian.
Yeah, but more like basalt stone or something like that.
Like the basal tiles, the basal stone, maybe.
There's some sort of black, like granite or obsidian or basalt, or a combination of all of those black stones.
Okay. Where did you put the knife? Can I have it back?
It's just been thrown across the room. It's just sort of sat there harmlessly at the moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up again.
Okay. Once you pick it up, there's nothing else.
Nothing else
It seems to have lost magic.
Ah, it's not magical.
It doesn't seem to now.
Okay, I'm gonna pick it up and take it down to everyone downstairs and say, look, Johan found this knife and I pulled it out and it gave me this really weird vision about someone seeing me.
I instantly touch it.
Nothing happens.
It has an eye on the end. Is the eye still there? Is it like
I put my hand on Warner's temperature. Like,
Is
are you
the
feeling
eye
alright?
is the eye moving around like a human eye, or is it like a carved in eye?
It's like a gem that kind of looks like an eye.
Oh
It's
right,
got
I was
people in it.
imagining like an actual eye.
Well, it does look like an eye. It's like carved into it to look like an eye, and then
Okay.
the actual eye itself, the eyeball itself, is like a gem.
Ah, okay.
It's like a red gem with like a black slit down the middle.
Yeah. So I wonder what that's to do. So what happened was, Roxanne helped me take the knife out of the tree, and then there was lots of fire, and a big silhouette appeared of a humanoid creature that was really tall, like Roxanne's height, and then there was a big, deep, booming voice that shook my skull, and they were saying, "I see you." And then there was a vision of a city wrapped in fire. The city was made out of black stone, and the streets were all empty apart from this big black tower, and I felt like I was being pulled towards the black tower.
Does that sound at all familiar
Does
in any
anyone...
way?
Make a religion check, Chinook.
Okay.
Also, I say it to the room, so if anybody knows a place where everything's black.
Religion.
I don't think I will.
Hey.
I think Chinook, through his like dealings with Hakul, would probably know it better than anyone else. Like Giro, you probably never heard of it. Yeah. All right. Natural 20. You've heard of similar places. You've heard of the myths of where Ashigal lives. The Black Gate of Rada Alora. And wherever he actually is not quite determined, but the descriptions of that seem to fit with the description that Morna's given.
Mike, we've heard that name. How do you spell the place? That was in the myth. Thank you.
So if we, I mean
That
that
speaks to me of Radar Laura.
that's supposedly where Aeron is now.
Yes.
If at some point we wish to go there, maybe this dagger could be... No, we can't use this to travel through the plains, can we?
We'd need to go
Maybe
through
when the planes shift?
Feywild. We would need to go through Hakul's area. Hakul's area is closest to Radar Alora.
Right.
Chinook, if I recall, you wrote a book?
Hey, what? Sorry?
Well, my notes there, it says he wrote a book, The Gates of Red Alora. About you.
I don't immediately recall. Sorry.
I should write a book about it.
Curious. I'm gonna go back and watch that video.
It's fine.
I really don't.
Maybe that those might be separate notes that have been just kind of
It might
smushed.
just be like a library I found, or like part of like Hakul's library where he wrote about Radar
Okay.
and a book there or something, but like I don't recall.
It's literally when you introduce your character. But anyway, I'll have a look at it. So maybe something else. Maybe I wrote it down wrong.
Well, Chinook wrote a book, and then maybe you talked about Rada Alora as well, so those two things might have been conflated.
Yeah.
What book did you write?
Oh, I just
Okay.
wrote about the different planes and that I've been to, and yeah, or more so heard about and read about, and the like.
Is Ashigal a humanoid?
I don't know. I've never met Ashigal.
I mean, Pietro was a demon and he took on a humanoid form.
Massamantha says, in my time, Ashigal was... Well, he took on many forms. Took on whatever he needed to at the time. Melindra backs that up and says, whilst I was under Ashigal's watch, he would tend to take his own forms, but that could be anything. We had to be careful.
Do you know
What
much?
abilities was Ashigal capable of when you knew
Sorry,
him?
what were you saying, Gira? First of all?
The children of Alora. Come across them in a few prophecies, and although I do remember reading and hearing various things about things of Ashigal. So do you have any to opine on that?
Well, Ashigal had lieutenants that he used to do his dark bidding.
Do you know anything of those?
We never managed to capture them. We only really captured Ashigal.
And what was Ashigal's powers when you came across him? What did he seem capable of?
Well, he had been working with Eretz-Sar. Ashigal was originally a follower of Zol-Nakar and the demigods who worked with Eretz-Sar during the invasion. The allying of demonic forces and the elves were enough to convince me to fight against them.
I mean, if we were to fight Ashigal, if you fought against Ashigal and his forces, if we are ourselves to fight against Ashigal, what should we expect?
I do not know how he's changed in the last 500 years. Well, the last few thousand years.
Does time not work differently in their plane? Or demi-plane?
It can do.
Excellent.
But I
So
don't know.
it could have been many thousands or 2 minutes.
I have a feeling that Ashgal has had a steady hand in events in this world since his release.
I feel that too. These portents are troubling, Warner. I hope you're okay.
Yeah. The whole I see you bit was quite scary, but but if you get killed by a demon, do they eat your soul?
Depends on the demon, I'd imagine.
Because I just worry going to fight a demon in Demon Land that maybe I'll die there and my soul won't go to my god.
I
Would
was
I
killed
know
by
much
I was killed
about,
by a
like-
demon once, and I'm still here.
Would I know much about fighting demons in Demon Land? Like,
I know it's cool.
because
I don't think you've ever been.
yeah, okay. What I mean is like yeah, okay.
Demons are sort of a matter of just opinion, really, of like what they really are. Like powerful spirits can take the form of fae or demons or whatever, depending on like just how they act.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be that much different to killing any other living sentient creature.
Okay. No, it's more if they killed me.
You'd have to know about the different abilities of each demon.
That's
or
why
what
she's
sort.
worried.
I mean, it's very, very possible that Ashigal's just as powerful as they're cool.
I
Oh.
mean, we could go to the Arcadium and ask them about their books on Ashigal.
Yeah, you guys could. Maybe send rocks on. Oh no, they know.
Yeah.
I mean, he is also banned.
We will not be sending anyone anywhere. I'm sorry, but must defeat the power at hand. I can't have any of you leaving. I need all you can give.
This comes later.
Hmm, very well. All I know is, following this, we need to be as prepared as we can about our knowledge of Ashigal and his powers.
Yeah.
If Massamantha says, well, if Naxus is allied with Ashigal, then sure we might be able to learn something by defeating him.
Hopefully.
And if not, there is much knowledge, hopefully to be found somewhere. Maybe not.
Melindra says, what about Tail?
Hmm.
He seems to have a lot of knowledge about Ashigal.
Doesn't seem particularly willing to give it over, though.
But you have information he might want. Especially now.
Do you think that trading the location of the Stoneshift would be advisable?
I think he could be a good ally. I know you can't trust him, but you know his motives.
Better the devil you
Okay.
know than the devil you don't.
I think I'd only be comfortable empowering him if once I have my memories, once I know my history with him, know who he is. Supposedly, I suppose grew up isn't the right term, but supposedly I lived with him for some time. Maybe I knew him for some time. I'll have a better insight on his character, better view on what he would do, whether he can be trusted to any degree.
Which is why we would need to go to the farewell, if possible.
Hmm. Yeah, plus, I mean, apparently we need to make sure that Tail doesn't die, right? 'Cause apparently if he
Yeah.
dies, I die.
I mean, you haven't died yet, so that's good.
Well, I have, just not because of that.
Maybe he just wants you to think that, so that
Wait,
you
if
stop him dying.
if you
Maybe.
die, does that mean he also died? Has
Yeah,
he
apparently-
died as many times as you have?
Apparently so. Well,
I
so
can
he
imagine,
says.
I can imagine the terrible amounts of insecurities and social anxieties that would occur if conversation die in the middle of.
Yeah, it's a bit of a social faux pas.
Yeah. I would hate to die in the middle of a conversation. No, I'm fine.
Well, it depends on the conversation. Some are really uncomfortable. Maybe you would rather just kind of, be dead for a few minutes. But
You know, I've been in many conversations like that.
yeah, getting a little off topic here. Shai, any progress? Or is it going to take you
She's only been
significantly
doing it for
longer?
like a few minutes, so
Alright.
it might take all night, so you might have to just have a rest.
All right.
I suggest we ponder the realizations and discoveries we've made. Moreover,
I'm
like
gonna
we
leave
can-
the notebook open by Shai in case she wants to tell us anything.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll stay down here. I'm good. You guys rest up.
Okay.
Okay.
Johan says, yeah, you don't need to tell me twice, and begins to get a bedroll out.
Mhm.
Samantha says, can't help but feel that we'll be putting ourselves in a position that will be quite dangerous when we get there.
Yeah.
What if the
we're used to
dragons underneath? What if the dragons under Naxus are unquestionably loyal to him? Might be quite an uphill battle.
Perhaps. but we have already faced some of his children and bested them. And besides, they are loyal. Seeing somebody like you might make them think twice.
And you, the librarian, returning.
I will try to use the diplomatic levers, procure their loyalty, but you're right, it might not go well. I am nervous to see what has happened to our home after so long.
As
Anyway,
Shai sort of like, as she's looking at the orb, she sort of ponders it a bit more and begins to write down on the notebook.
Angira, are we doing what? Are we doing watches?
Before people take their rests, which lodestones do we have on us currently? I have the fire one.
Angira holds out the air lodestone.
And somebody else has 2 others.
Tamlin, right?
Yeah, but I
Should
was
we-
gonna say that.
Should
We're not in the
we?
war room.
That's true. Should we? Should I stash these away?
If you may, I would like to keep hold of this lodestone.
You think it may be useful for what comes ahead?
I do.
All right. And before we go to bed, I shall open the demiplane and I shall enter alone and put the lodestone of fire in, along with just kind of making very specific details in the room so that no one can just be like, I'm going to go to a demiplane that just has a lodestone of fire in it, and yeah, basically try and like encrypt the location of the demiplane.
Sure,
It
I
also
assume-
has the precise location of one of the moles Chinook's back, or something like that.
Okay. So you begin to settle down for the night. Are you taking watches then?
I'm gonna sleep near enough Shy in case you find something worth talking about.
Yeah, I'll
Oh.
take a watch. I'll do a first one.
Angira will take second.
I'll take
Okay.
third.
I'll take
Right,
fourth.
Alright, make a perception check, Warner.
I'm also going to be looking at the knife, seeing if there's anything fancy with it.
Your watch goes pretty peacefully. You obviously feeling a bit shook from the vision you had. You keep thinking about it, and that city. It is strange how a city could exist with seemingly no occupants. A quite dark history is clearly tied to it, and whoever that silhouette was that was watching you is someone with a lot of power and influence over this area, and whoever put the knife there was using it for some dark means. But your watch goes pretty peacefully.
Other than that, is it just like a regular dagger?
Yeah, it just seems like a dagger that was used for a certain purpose, and once that
It's my
purpose was
dagger
gone,
now.
then sure.
It just looks cool. That's all it does.
Well, I mean, you don't know what it does.
Yeah, but to me at the moment, it's just a dagger that looks cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It looks dark. It looks like some rather evil, dark
Edgy.
design.
That's her vibe, though, right? You know.
I mean, there's a
More
difference
than
between
BBG confirmed.
there's a difference between edginess and like sheer raw evil. But yeah.
Yeah, I know, but she still thinks it's cool.
Sure. Alright, who's next?
Gira.
Alright, do a perception check for me, Gira. Okay, so halfway through your watch, sort of like watching Shai just sort of casually inspect the orb, walking around it slowly, and her hands occasionally glowing, and you watch as she sort of is beginning to take wisps of magical energy from it, and is just holding those wisps out in front of her, and sort of almost like reading the encoding of the sort of the arcane wisps in front of her. And as she does that, she sort of writes it down on the notebook until she sighs and closes the notebook and like turns and looks at you.
A revelation.
She nods.
He kind of like scrambles, like, and is realizes he doesn't have a notepad on him.
He has one.
I'm deeply sorry, I can't. Oh, brilliant. He notices she brings it out. So?
She writes on there, I was right, it is a gateway.
To where, Mrs. Az Shunnock suggested.
She says yes.
Oh. Good heavens.
She write, it seems that Ashigal has been using the Stoneshift to hide his domain. He has moved it into the Stoneshift itself.
What a crazed buffoon monster using our technology against us. What an abomination. Is there any way to remove it?
She writes, not without going there.
Good heavens. I certainly
And
hope.
Melindra's sort of half awake as well during this. She says, does that mean that it will be dangerous for us to use a stone ship? And Shai sort of shakes her head and says, not unless we want to go to Rada Alora.
Do you get a sense that it's a gateway both ways?
She nods.
So anything could come through here at a moment's notice.
Perhaps.
Oh, well, that's just great, isn't it? Well, my thanks for investigating the orb. Strange that he took such a fascinated interest in the Stoneshift. He was never supposed to be able to do this.
Shai begins to sit down and begins to rest.
He kind of trails over to Melindra slightly and sits down. Runs his hands, his kind of scaly hands through his hair.
Did Dragonborn have hair?
Yeah, Gira's got like white hair, and he.
Bold Gira is cursed imagery.
Is it like the reverse of humans, where they only have hair when they're old?
I think in this universe anyone can have hair anywhere. I mean, Scrimshaw can attest to that. I think.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's more wool than hair, but
Wool.
yeah, it's like sheep's wool.
Oh no, I hate that.
I wish I didn't know that. I didn't realize.
Fucking Christ.
I thought you just had a white beard. Although I always imagine it as Richard's beard.
Sherlock needs to die in a fire. Jesus, not
Yeah.
Sherlock, Scrimshaw. Grimshaw needs to
Jesus.
die in a fire.
I mean, if we end up going to that place, he might.
Alright,
Yeah,
who's next on the watch?
Just quickly before he
Oh, yeah.
does, Gira he takes the lodestone out and basically just like kind of looks at the lodestone and kind of ponders deeply after Scrimshaw raised it earlier, kind of looking between the lodestone and the orb, and occasionally muttering some things to Melindra while she's kind of staring about it. But like, he looks very concerned about a decision. Yeah.
Melindra says, whatever decision we have to make, I think it will never be as easy as we hope.
Kira doesn't say anything, and kind of he looks troubled, but ends his watch.
Alright, well, maybe let's stop there and then we'll start next session when everyone's well rested.
All right.
Sure.
It is 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you are
Right,
in.
yeah. Thanks for
You're
running.
next time.
I'll count us
Very
out.
exciting.
Yeah, thanks for playing.
See you next week.